start with the speech. Intellectual growth should commence at birth and cease only at death, said Albert Einstein. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, welcome to 590 Toastmasters meeting. Today I'm going to be giving my icebreaker speech. The title of my speech is Life, Love, and Gratitude. And through the course of the speech, I want to make sure that I get to share as much values and attributes that I've learned throughout my life and share it in a positive way with the fellow Toastmasters. I'm going to start off with life, and that's everyone can relate to this. And this is something which makes you more humble as you go along the way and you think about your childhood and how you've come across the way. 10th April 1992, Friday evening. I was born in one of the best hospitals in a city in North India called by the name Chandigarh. It's the capital of my province. And it was right on the Friday evening and right before the weekend. What more can you expect? And I was really a chubby, small kid playing around. I had an elder brother and elder sister. And as a result, of course, I used to get bullied a lot. They used to fight with me, throw me on the bed, play WWF with me. And most of the times, there was once, I remember once, my brother, he lifted me up and threw me on the bed. And I landed on my back. And it hurt so much that I thought I was going to die. And I ran all the way to terrace to my mom. She was washing clothes. And I told her, Mom, I'm going to die. Mom, I'm going to die. And she's like, just relax. I'm washing clothes. Let me wash clothes. And that's how it is. I mean, in India, parents are more focused on giving education to the kids and making sure that they get good education, which would eventually lead them to get a good job and make a more better future for themselves. And as a result, I used to get a lot of scolding from my mother. She used to force me to sit here and study math with her when I never wanted to touch anything that was pertaining to studies. And as a result, I got a couple scars on my left eye, on my right eye, on my forehead right here, and one on my back right here. And the good thing though is I never got a fracture. And it's very hard for someone to believe that I got so many scars on my face and I never got a fracture. But that's a good thing. I'm really lucky to not get a fracture. The city where I was born in, Chandigarh, it's the first planned city of India after independence. They divided the whole city into sectors, and I was part of one of the sectors near the suburbs of the city. And it's called the Tri-City. There's 3 cities that are made near the capital of that province. And I was lucky to be studying in one of the best schools in my city. That's one of the reasons that I really got good in my communication skills, not just in India, but anywhere outside I go. People, when I came here in Canada in my first halfway through the year, they would be like, oh, I don't believe you're from India. And they're like, I am from India. They say, oh, I thought that people in India don't speak English. And I'm like, no, it's changing. India is really growing, right? And I studied in one of the best schools, learned a lot from my teachers. They gave me good education. I still owe them for that. And there were a couple of things that were happening at the same time when I was in high school during grades 7 and 8. A couple of family problems happening in the house, which led to me going in my shell, and I came up with it as a different personality. I was completely transformed. All my focus was directly on studies. I wanted to be A+ in the class, nothing less, and that led to my transformation. Grades 8, 9, 10, I scored 90, 90, 90. And so on, I went to grades 11 and 12, and I started preparing for competition exams in India, which you need to do in order to get into the best universities in India. And all of a sudden, my dad is like, oh, by the way, we're going to Canada next year. And I'm like, what? What? Well, it came all as a surprise because at that time I was studying for exams in India and I was kind of more focused on getting admission in India. And he gives me this reply, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. And with that, I had to leave my mom in India, and it was really hard for me to come here without my mom and not see her, talking on the phone, but not able to see her face to face over the next many years. Now I'm gonna quickly go over to love, and here I'm gonna talk about my relationship with my mom. She is really my role model. Whenever I was here and I used to feel homesick, I used to think about her, and I used to think about the values she's taught me, about getting good education, not feeling down, being responsible, even though you're independent, still being responsible, and taking charge of your own life, rather than being a victim, be a leader of your life. So not focusing on because of this happened, because of that happened, but more like it was me that I didn't improvise on the opportunity that led that to happening. That's kind of the value she taught me. And same thing with my siblings. Both I live with them right now here, and we're really lucky to be living together. We are all working, and we have our own lives ahead. And it was actually funny that I saw my mom after 2 years, 9 months, and 23 days, and she came here this summer, and she was here for the summer 4 months, and she left at the end of July. It was one of the feelings that I will remember for sure. And lastly and quickly, I want to talk about gratitude, and I want to express this by a famous quote by John F. Kennedy. He says, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them." And gratitude comes in different ways. I try to volunteer every weekend whenever there's some event happening downtown. Last weekend I was volunteering for the CIBC Run for the Cure, and I really loved interacting with so many limitless happy faces around you. There was this right before the event, my brother was like, "Why are you volunteering? What would you get from it? There's no money, there's nothing they would give you." And I just gave him a calm and composed reply. I said that you don't need money to be happy. You don't need money to say that you've achieved something. It's one of the quotes that I really follow in my own life, is that take care of the relationships and the money will take care of itself. And with that, I'm done. I know I'm a little overboard, but I want to quickly show some of the pictures from which are gonna just highlight all the stuff. So this is me when I was a kid. That's my sister. This is a festival in India called Raksha Bandhan, in which they tie that thing knot on the hand, and that's supposed to mean that the relationship between the sister and the brother will stay strong no matter what. Anymore. That's me when I saw my mother, and that was after 2 years. Like I said, 2 years, 9 months, 23 days, and that was a really happy moment for me. And that's us, all of us together. So for now, it's just because I look different. I used to look different before, but me is on the extreme left right there. And this was the time when we went to Niagara Falls, all the siblings and mother right there, the top. And the last one, please. That's me when I was volunteering last weekend. I want to talk about this lady and with a yellow kind of shirt, and she's been volunteering for this event for I don't know how many years. And that I met her during the training, and she really inspired me to not just do something for money, but to run, to fight for a cause. And working with her was kind of a pleasure for me, working in the morning, even though it was 5:30 a.m. in the morning. I was still loving it. I was so energetic, and working beside her was one of the greatest things. And with that, I'm done with my icebreaker speech. Sorry for being overboard, and thank you guys.
Thank you, Kanwar, for the excellent speech. It was great icebreaker. We all learned from you and from your mom some valuable life lessons. Now let me proceed to the second speech. Maria Atarian is presenting her project 4, Conspiracy Theories. Maria Atarian. Mr. Timer is 5 minutes. Green, yellow,
Yeah.
6. 6.
Hi everyone. Conspiracy theories. I'm a curious souls, and curious souls, that's what we do. We think a lot, sometimes and often a little too much. The inquisitive mind will search for explanations and answers and will come up with theories to whatever it finds intriguing. And this world, we've complicated enough that even if you run out of topics, there is always something new that will catch your attention and will be challenging enough to get you to think. For this speech, a friend of mine that I keep very close to my heart said that it would be a good idea and an interesting topic to share with the world somehow and in some way. And here I am today, sharing it with you guys. For the purposes of this, I will pose to everyone one simple question. How do you feel about the internet? Does it have an impact to all of you, to young people? If yes, how much does it really influence us? Really? It's a simple question, and you're all IT people, and you're familiar with it, I'm sure, and you have some thoughts over it. So let's see. I belong to the generation of the internet boom. I saw dial tones turn to LTE. I saw online purchases being done with a click of a button. As the search engines become more and more powerful, you can basically learn everything with one single Google search. Get that. Picture it. You can basically learn anything you can imagine just in the palm of your hand. Just think of the endless possibilities, right? It's just huge. However, inevitably, I just run a little bit back to the Adam and Eve parabola, like the more you know, the sort of your eyes open to newer things, and you get more educated and you get more suspicious. Anyway, keep that in mind. So there are always two sides of the same coin. Think about it. So an example would be, oh, my laptop broke. Well, that's okay. Tell you what, I can purchase one right now on the palm of my hand, on my smartphone. Or, ooh, it's so fast. I could have done that yesterday. So simple. It's there. It's easy. It's great. However, it teaches one thing, that things should be easy and convenient and accessible at every time. And no matter how alluring and how awesome that sounds, we sort of learn that, and we sort of tend to generalize, and it goes beyond purchasing things. It goes to human relations, where things shouldn't be easy. We should try and not take them as a given. Things like human relationships do need effort, because when we learn that things should be convenient and accessible, if something doesn't come that way, we sort of think, oh, wait a minute, but that's okay, it's replaceable, it's dispensable, I can get something new, like if it breaks, like the laptop. But it shouldn't be like that with human relations. I was reading the other day that 50% of marriages end to a divorce these days. And personally, I think a lot of, I don't want to believe that it's 50% indeed, because that would make me truly sad. But I know it's bigger than it used to be, and a lot of that I blame to the lack of effort. And in order to support that, I'll give you an example from my personal experience. My parents are the happiest couple I know. They're still married after so many years. They were dating for 5 years prior to getting married. Out of these 5 years, the 2 first months were in the same city, and the rest were exchanging letters overseas. I think that requires a little bit of effort. Moving on, what makes that even worse, I think, is what I observed the other day, that, not the other day, but anyway, the birth of Facebook and other social media. I saw them becoming big. I saw them becoming an important part of our everyday life. And only yesterday, I was snooping on my iPhone, and I realized, okay, let's see, photos, camera, maps, newsstand, Starbucks, Lufthansa, good lord, Skype, Shazam, Instagram. All of these apps have a little button that say share on Facebook. I realized later on I have a TD app. Thank God they don't let me share anything on Facebook because, believe it or not, sadly, I think there are people that would do that if there was an option. Anyway, so my point about Facebook is that we kind of we're curious. We're curious by nature. So in the name of keeping up with friends, we end up gossiping and we end up being addicted to keeping up with the Joneses because all you can see on Facebook on your friends' albums is like smiley faces and happy moments, and it's not really always like that, but this is what you see, and you get into that whole addiction of keeping up with the Joneses, and then one day, Facebook will die overnight, like it was born overnight, and people will still fall into depression because it's like on every other addiction, basically. If you get the drug away. Finally, I lived through the introduction of the verb Google in the English dictionaries and the vast availability of movies of any sort of content. And now the younger crowd has even more access to that content, and they take advantage of it. Don't kid ourselves. From a very, very early age. And another example here, after I graduated high school, 3 years after, I decided to go see my professors at the school. So I saw kids 3 years younger than me, where I was 3 years before on grade 12. Instead of how I used to be, carrying backpacks filled with books and textbooks and me wanting to hang out with my girlfriends at recess, I see girls my age wearing makeup, nail polish, carrying designer purses, and going at the back to have a smoke or make out with boyfriends. I was like, wow, okay, generations probably switched a little faster than they used to be. Oh, boy, I feel old. They do change faster. They do. And it's true, they learn a lot of things too soon, and that will only lead them to get bored too soon, and that's a dangerous thing, I believe. Anyway, you're all aware of the positive aspects of the internet and all this technology explosion, and for that reason I decided to concentrate on the other side of the coin and share with you a little food for thought of what I think the negatives are. Nevertheless, the positives do make me grateful, and I wouldn't want to be born at a different age. I like the time where I was born. I wouldn't switch it to anything else. But I want to leave this with you. What about our kids? What about the next generation to come?